This is not good. So what happens? You come out to your car, there's a bunch of coolant under the car itself. It basically looks like you're gonna have a bad day. You know, you're stuck somewhere, there's no coolant in the car. How do you get home? You gotta call somebody, what do? This is what I'm gonna show you. This is interesting because in a situation like this, and I've had situations like this, and probably you have too in your time. You know, are you stuck here? Do you have to like wait for somebody now? You know, I know an easy thing would be either call somebody, get it towed to your house or to a shop, or you know, just try to fill it with coolant and limp it home, right? I mean, this is not good, right? You got a bunch of water down there. I'm going to show you a trick I learned. So here's what you do. So the car's cold. I'm going to start the car. Okay. We're going to get rolling. We're going to get rolling. I'm going to get it up to speed. Okay, about 40, 45. Put it in neutral. And I shut the car off. And then I put it back in accessory. I have steering. The car's coasting, engine is off. Okay. So this is going to get me home. We're going to do a couple miles like this. Look, I'm going down 40, 35. You know, it's coasting for quite a while. So what you do is when the car starts getting too slow, turn it back on, put it in drive, get it a little more speed. All right, 45, 50, neutral, turn it back off again, put the accessory on. So this way I still have brake and I still have steering, okay? Now, this will allow me to limp this car home. Because, I mean, like you see, the car's not really running. I only ran it, we've driven about a mile maybe, and what I've driven at 10 seconds. So the temperature isn't really going up on this thing. Okay, look, I still have brakes, I can still brake. Okay, we're approaching a stop sign here. Still in neutral. I'm at a red light right now. I'm going to show you what. Start it up, put it in drive, go. Okay, I'm going to get up to speed. Still going. Okay, 45, 50, neutral, off. Okay, now I've turned it back to accessory, so I got steering, I got brakes. So like I said, this allows me to get the car home. Like you see, I can limp a couple miles this way easily. Is this recommended for, you know, heavy traffic or navigating, you know, city streets? No, I would definitely not do this. But like you see, I'm kind of like a one-lane road. You know, I've used this before to kind of like get off a highway and just kind of limp it down to like a park near in a parking lot where I can actually look at the car. So the car's slowing down now, about 30. Turn it back on, put it in drive. Let's go. Get it back up, you know, maybe 50 this time. A little, if the bean's a little bit, all right. Neutral, off. Put it back in accessory. Okay, and like I said, I got brakes and steering. If you don't think you can turn it back into accessory, because right now, remember, there's no power steering. It's hard to drive. Don't do this, okay? Because if you're gonna, you know, wind up crashing the car or something, you're better off not even doing this thing at all, okay? So this is just something I wanted to show you in an emergency. If you're a couple miles and you need to get somewhere, whether to a shop, home, whatever, this is a way you could do this. Turn it back on, back to drive, okay. Get it back up to speed. Anyway, that was the demo. I just wanted to show you guys that it is possible to do something like this. So how does it work actually when you can drive your car without coolant? Well, you're not really driving the car. You're just turning it on for, you know, a few seconds and then turning it off and letting everything cool back down. So where did I get this idea to run the car like this, you know, where you can just turn it off and let things cool down? I actually got the idea from General Motors, from GM. Back in the early 90s, GM launched the Northstar motor in their new Cadillac STS at the time. It was supposed to be like a competitor to the Lexus LS400 and like the BMW sports sedans, the 7 Series, S-Class Mercedes. Anyway, that engine was designed to run dry. You can actually run it without coolant for about 100 miles. It would go 50 miles an hour. And what they did is, it was a 4.9 liter V8. So what they did is, when the computer sensed that you were running out of coolant, it would alternate firing between the two banks. So, it would do a couple of engine cycles of running spark and fuel on the left bank. Then it would alternate to the right bank, back to the left bank, to the right bank. So when the left bank was firing, delivering fuel and firing and getting warmed up, the right bank was pumping just air. So it was actually cooling the head and that side of the engine. And then when it swapped over, the right side would warm back up as it was running, and the left side was just pumping air. So the left bank was cooling back down. So you could do this alternator for quite a long time. I mean, GM said that engine can go 100 miles total like this. I mean, it was severely power limited, right? So your top speed was probably, what I remember from the papers at the time, 50 miles an hour. But, I mean, that's 100 miles with no coolant can get you home. That's where I got the idea for turning the car on, get it up to speed, and, turn it off and kind of coast. There were 3 different times I actually had to do this in my life. One was when I had an E46 BMW. It was in traffic, and the coolant reservoir on this thing exploded. It was on a hot day, and it was sitting low enough, like basically it dumped almost all of its coolant. And I was in traffic, I had to get off the road. I had to find somewhere to actually like park the car. So that's what I did. I turned the car off in traffic. When we needed to creep up, I turned it on, give it just enough gas to move, turn it off. And I got off the road. I actually drove a couple miles like this until I finally found a place to stop. No damage to the engine. Because like I said, I just turned it on for a second. It was mostly off, cooling down. The second time I did this, I had actually an auction car. It was a Volkswagen Passat. And I pulled into a gas station not too far from my house. And as I'm pulling out, the lower coolant hose on those, they were just like these slip over plastic pieces with a circlip. I don't think it was on 100% or it was brittle. It basically exploded. All the coolant dumped out of this thing. I was still a few miles from home. I was like, oh no. What the heck? So I did exactly the same thing. I got it up to speed about 45 miles an hour. I turned it off. With the ignition still on, so I still had I could still steer the car and brake. And then I made it home. You do that a couple times, and it actually did allow me to get back home. The third time was another car I bought to resell. Same thing. It started overheating on the way back to my friend's dealership. So I was doing the same thing. I was kind of limping it along the last few miles, right? Turn it on just enough to get it up to speed, turn it off. That one actually was a little more problematic because that one didn't actually dump its coolant. It was actually a head gasket problem. But anyway, it was still overheating. So in all of these instances, I never really did long-term damage because the car wasn't really running all that long. The first time I'd actually seen something like this in my life was at mechanics. When I was young, I remember my friends and my dad's friends that used to own dealerships, that they bought a car that was crashed or had no coolant or not even a radiator in it. They would drive it into the shop, and it always blew my mind. I was like, you're driving it without coolant? And they're like, hey, it's fine for a little while. The thing's stone cold, right? So I always thought about that. Between that and then the GM Northstar motor, I had the idea that, you could probably limp a car home probably a long way as long as you're not running it much. You just turn it on just to get it up to speed. If you think about it a little further, air-cooled engines, they didn't have coolant at all, right? They just had ribbing on the cylinder heads to cool everything off and on the actual piston sleeves. And they all did just fine. One other thing I wanted to add, why don't cars have this feature any longer? This seems like a good feature to have. Well, the problem with the way Northstar did it, where they would have one bank running, one bank not running, and it was just pumping air basically in and out, is it was horrible for emissions because that air, it was just cold air going right into your catalytic converter along with the other banks regular combustion air. It would basically cool the cats down, so your emissions spiked. No new cars are allowed to do this. You wouldn't be able to pass any emissions. Newer cars that have this kind of capability would be, like that displacement on demand that GM had, where it shut off a bank of cylinders. But the way they did it is they weren't pumping air through. They would actually shut the valves off. The MDS system for Chrysler, that's another one. Stellantis, they basically actually closed all the valves. The valves would not actuate. So the piston's pumping. There's no air moving in and out of the engine. It's just sitting there. That doesn't destroy emissions as bad because you're not pumping, just like regular air into the catalytic converter. So sadly, this is one of these like bygone era type things that don't really exist, but it did help me in this particular case. And again, I want to give a final caveat on this. Don't do something like this. If you're not 100% comfortable, you can do this, because number one, if you got to put it in accessory mode. If you don't, your steering wheel locks up. You won't even be able to like keep the car in its lane. It'll just lock on you, right? And if you're going to panic then, and you got one power brake before you lose your power brakes, then after that, it's like manual braking. It's going to be really hard to do. If you're going to wind up just panicking, doing something and crashing the car, don't do this, okay? This is one of these situations where you got to be comfortable with this, okay? So for most of you, I don't know if I would recommend this. You can maybe try it on a back road like I just did on a country road where there really isn't any traffic or in some parking lot or something. Just an easy solution is either have it towed back to your house or try to add water or coolant in there and try to limp it home, right? Like you saw in one of my earlier videos right here, I talk about carrying coolant with me, so that way I can always try to make it back home. Now, the stories I told you, the one with the BMW, the E46, the 330, when that coolant bottle exploded, the bottom of it literally like blew out. I actually tried refilling it, topping it back up, and it all just like gushed back out the bottom. So there was no, topping it up to get it home in that case. Same with the Passat. There's no way. That thing, it just completely came apart at the bottom of the radiator, where the hose fitting was. So anyway, I just thought I'd share this with you guys. This is like a little trick that you never really hear about much, but it might actually be able to like get you home in an emergency or get you to a shop or somewhere safe. Like if you're on the highway, like I was when my BMW coolant stuff happened. Thanks for watching.